WNBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camilla are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still very far.
Angel Reese sat down with bold confidence on her podcast, declaring she was on a mission to build a WNBA powerhouse in Chicago. She spoke with conviction, as if the entire league was waiting to follow her lead. Fast forward to the present, and that grand vision has crumbled into silence. Free agency came and went, and while other franchises made power moves, Chicago stood frozen. Despite all the hype, the Sky's roster is nearly empty, and the top-tier players made one thing painfully clear. They're not buying what Reese is selling.
You don't get told no. Like, you're going to get the yeses. You're going to get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So I'm excited for that. I know that's going to come.
Not a single All-Star has even flirted with the idea of joining the Sky. While other teams celebrated superstar signings and stacked their depth charts, Chicago was left making phone calls that never got returned. This offseason was supposed to be Reese's breakthrough moment, the time when her recruiting hustle and unrivaled connections would pay off. Instead, it's exposed a brutal truth: the league's elite don't see the Sky as a viable landing spot. What was meant to be the beginning of a dynasty is starting to feel like a dream built on delusion.
He is obsessed with you.
I know. I love it
all
here.
the time.
I feel like Baltimore here. I love it here.
Kinda. A little bit, little DMV action. But Chicago is a number 3 market in the country.
Really?
It's New York, LA, and then Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, y'all have everything. I'm not gonna lie, y'all have everything here. Like, it's nothing here that I'm like, oh, I gotta go to a different city for. Like, everything is here.
Angel Reese didn't just hint, she flat out promised to build a super team in Chicago. But with free agency at full speed, that dream has turned into a running joke. The only thing Chicago has accumulated is doubt. Picture Reese scrolling through her contact list, calling in favors, making pitches, only to find those messages left on read or followed by polite declines. The silence from the league's top players speaks louder than any headline. No one wants to be part of her so-called empire.
Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, too, have brought relevance to this team that they've desperately needed in a time when, again, if not for them, they'd be completely irrelevant because of the product that they're putting on the floor.
And also make Chicago an attractive spot when you have Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso right there, two bigs that really shine in there.
You'd think that with a free agency class this stacked, Chicago could have snagged one marquee name. But instead? Crickets. No splashy announcements, no surprise signings, no Twitter buzz, just Angel Reese staring at a blank roster sheet. The Windy City isn't just being overlooked, it's being outright avoided. And while Reese publicly keeps her composure, behind the scenes it's clear the plan is unraveling fast. The big question now, why is everyone running the other way?
But lads, this is not great news, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough to get in.
Let's talk about the talent that was available. Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, Brittany Griner, Alyssa Thomas, Diana Taurasi, Natasha Howard, Satu Sabali, Kelsey Mitchell. These are game-changing names, players who elevate a franchise overnight. Yet not one of them gave Chicago serious consideration. The Sky weren't in the mix. They weren't even in the conversation. Reese might have had faith in her recruiting pull, but with most stars already locked into new homes, it's clear. Whatever she pitched didn't land. Her recruiting plan wasn't just ineffective, it completely fell apart.
Oh, not a good day for the Chicago Sky. Not a good day at all, because we have heard news from the journalist who reports on the WNBA, and because she is not a homer like a lot of the other people, Like, normally journalists are complete homers for one team. One of the actual credible journalists reported on something. Sky fans aren't happy. They all want their...
To make matters worse, the Sky's front office failed to show even a basic level of urgency. Kennedy Carter, the team's leading scorer, didn't even receive a qualifying offer. That move, or lack thereof, sent a loud and discouraging message to the rest of the league: Chicago isn't serious about winning. Combine that with trade rumors that never materialized and a vacuum of leadership, and you have a franchise that looks lost. For all the hype Reese brought, it seems her team's house wasn't in order, and free agents could smell the dysfunction from a mile away.
He had an incredible season for us last year, says the GM. She's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a free agent.
So now what? Angel Reese, who was marketed as a new face of the league, is staring down the possibility of leading a roster filled with rookies, role players, and leftovers. This wasn't the master plan. This was supposed to be a legacy-defining moment. Instead, it's starting to look like a cautionary tale. The same players Reese thought would jump at the chance to join her are choosing to build elsewhere. And the worst part? No one seems surprised.
Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of Chicago.
While Angel Reese was talking big about turning Chicago into a title contender, the real contenders were being built everywhere else. As teams across the league signed stars and fortified rosters, Chicago was left behind. Why? Because the ingredients that attract talent, strong ownership, championship culture, clear leadership, were nowhere to be found in the Sky's front office. Players are chasing wins, not hashtags. And when it came down to it, the stability Reese needed to attract top-tier talent simply didn't exist.
Storm are sending Jewel Lloyd to the Las Vegas Aces in a blockbuster three-team trade that moves Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks. That's according to ESPN. As part of the deal, Seattle receives the second pick in this year's WNBA draft from LA in exchange for the Storm's number 9 pick, while the Aces also receive the 13th pick, a second-round selection from the...
Take Kelsey Plum, for example. She helped Las Vegas win back-to-back titles and is one of the league's most respected scorers. Did she even glance at Chicago? Nope, she's heading to Los Angeles. Why? Because the Sparks offered everything the Sky didn't: elite coaching, proven infrastructure, and direction. Now contrast that with what happened to Jewel Lloyd. Born and raised in Chicago, this was her homecoming moment. A chance to return as a hero, team up with Reese, and build something special. But she passed and instead signed with Las Vegas. If your hometown star won't even consider joining your team, that says everything you need to know.
According to WNBA Insider, that Illinois native Jewel Lloyd will not be going to Chicago Sky. And obviously they didn't keep Kennedy Carter. And it's looking like one player, obviously, that's been in Chicago across her careers because of her Illinois roots, is Seattle Storm guard Jewel Lloyd.
Then there's Brittney Griner, one of the most dominant centers in the league. She chose Atlanta. Alyssa Thomas? She's off to Phoenix, where she'll be the centerpiece of a rebuilt contender. And you can't blame them. They went where the vision was clear, the leadership strong, and the opportunity to win was real. None of them saw that in Chicago. In fact, the top-tier talent didn't just avoid the Sky, they ran in the opposite direction.
3 big names you gotta know: Alyssa Thomas, Natasha Cloud, Brittney Griner. Let's start with Brittney Griner, joining Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard in Atlanta. Dream team? Brittney Griner was drafted to Phoenix in 2013, so it's kind of about time, and I'm so excited to see what Atlanta turns around this next season, because they really need her. Phoenix is also losing Natasha Cloud and Beck Allen, along with the number 12 pick overall in this year's draft, to Connecticut. Connecticut is giving up the triple-double queen, Alyssa Thomas.
Things got even worse when the Indiana Fever, yes, Indiana, swooped in and built what Chicago couldn't. They didn't just sign big names, they stacked the deck. Natasha Howard, Diana Bonner, Sydney Colson, Sophie Cunningham, these are battle-tested vets with playoff experience. And just to twist the knife, Indiana even took Brianna Turner, Angel Reese's own unrivaled teammate. Then they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, locking in their core. While Angel was out making podcast proclamations, Indiana was out here building a championship roster brick by brick. The message? You can talk about building a powerhouse, or you can actually do it. Reese picked the wrong route, and now she's left holding the mic, while everyone else builds banners.
Fever are that golden destination, and I can't help but laugh to the fans and the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
So, what's the verdict after this chaotic offseason? Simple. Angel Reese talked a massive game, but when it came time to walk the walk, the Stars wanted nothing to do with it. Not only did every top free agent avoid Chicago, but they actively bolstered the competition Reese will be facing. It's like they read the writing on the wall and decided to steer clear of the drama before it even started. And just when things couldn't get more brutal, there's one more move coming that could completely bury Reese's so-called super team dream. Once bragging about building a dynasty in Chicago, Angel now finds herself surrounded by vacant lockers and unanswered texts. The image she tried to create of being a league leader and magnet for greatness is dissolving fast. Her dream team? It's starting to look more like a YMCA rec squad on a slow Tuesday night.
Trying to give myself some grace because I know I'm not the player that I want to be just yet, but also kind of patting myself in the back, telling myself.
Let's address the elephant in the room, or more accurately, the outdated gym everyone's pretending isn't a problem. Chicago's practice facility isn't just underwhelming, it's borderline embarrassing. Compared to the modern, state-of-the-art arenas in places like Las Vegas, New York, and Indiana, the Sky's current setup feels like something out of a 1990s high school. And as for that shiny new training center they keep teasing, it won't be finished until 2026. That's 2 full seasons of trying to recruit elite talent to a franchise that's still using last decade's amenities. In a league that's rapidly evolving, the Sky are moving at dial-up speed in a fiber-optic world.
Women should be able to step in and be able to go into a locker room and be able to have a safe space, or go into a gym at 3 o'clock in the morning when they want to do that. So I want to be able to just.
The Sky's on-court performance hasn't helped either. This was a team once feared in the playoffs, but last season, they fell apart in spectacular fashion, finishing 13-27. That's their worst showing since 2020. And yes, that collapse came after adding the so-called generational rookie Angel Reese. Turns out, you can't win games with Instagram clout and hype reels. The scoreboard doesn't care about media buzz, it only responds to buckets, chemistry, and wins. Unfortunately, Chicago had none of the above.
It's been great being able to see my impact on and off the court, and not just in sports, but just being able to be a cultural impact as well has just been great.
But buckle up, it gets messy. Reports from inside the locker room suggest the chemistry in Chicago is about as stable as a Tinder relationship. And at the center of that dysfunction? Angel Reese. Instead of making the Sky a destination for serious talent, her presence seems to be repelling it. Take Gabby Williams, for instance, personally recruited by Reese, only to turn her down flat. And Kennedy Carter? She didn't hesitate to speak her mind before she walked out the door. The Sky's locker room is sounding less like a pro team and more like a backstage feud on a reality show.
According to league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.
And what about leadership at the top? The Sky's front office looks like a rotating door of uncertainty. Coaches, execs, and staff are coming and going so frequently, it's hard to keep track. WNBA analyst Annie Costil nailed it when she said free agents are staying away not just because of the roster, but because of the total lack of direction. No structure. No stability. Just chaos. While franchises like Indiana are busy laying foundations for a dynasty, the Sky can't even get players to answer their phone calls. The result? A slow, painful collapse that's impossible to ignore.
Can't help but wonder, is that what happened here? Is Angel Reese and the way she wants to play, and I don't know if you've ever noticed her social media post, but she's very me, always. me. Well, you may have a player that has decided that she's had enough of.
Angel Reese often reminds everyone how much attention she brings to the game. But the numbers just dropped a cold dose of reality. The WNBA's biggest draw isn't Angel, it's Caitlin Clark. Full stop. Reese might dominate the headlines on social media, but when it comes to actual viewership, ratings, and revenue, Clark's the one moving the needle, and it's not even close.
Throughout the year, WNBA players were demanding to be given credit for elevating the league. Angel Reese claimed that she was along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media. They wanted us to believe that the WNBA was exploding in popularity. They wanted to keep all the credit for themselves while downplaying the impact of the only star in the league, Caitlin Clark.
Let's visualize it. Game night in Chicago. Angel Reese steps on the court. And the arena? It's echoing like a library on a Sunday morning. TV ratings? Barely registering above reruns on cable access. But let Caitlin Clark and the Fever roll into town, and suddenly the building is packed to the rafters. It's standing room only. The buzz, the energy, the fans, it's all for Clark. Angels camp might shout double-double machine, but that doesn't translate into ticket sales. The Sky's attendance tells a sad tale. The hype around Reese isn't turning into real support. At least not the kind that fills seats.
Well, now, jealous WNBA players will have the opportunity to earn that credit. Now, players like Angel Reese, they will be given the chance to test their star power.
Even in her side hustle, Reese is losing steam. Remember Unrivaled, the hyped-up 3-on-3 league where she was supposed to shine? The one meant to revolutionize women's basketball? Well, let's just say the viewership numbers are more disappointing than a soggy drive-through burger. Fewer than 100,000 people tuned in to watch her games. That's not even a rounding error in today's sports landscape. For all the talk of star power, the lights aren't exactly shining bright.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero.
So, what's next for Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky? Pressure. Lots of it. The expectations were sky high, the talk was loud, but the reinforcements? Nowhere to be found. If Reese truly wants to be the face of the WNBA, this is the season she has to prove it, because the window is closing fast. No all-star sidekicks. No dream team. Just her, standing center court, trying to carry the weight of an entire franchise and prove the hype was real.
Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I.
Here's the brutal reality. Angel Reese's name might dominate headlines, but it isn't filling arenas. Trying to power a franchise on social media likes is like trying to run a stadium with a flashlight. Even WNBA analysts are beginning to call it out. Annie Costil put it bluntly, without Reese and rookie Camila Cardoso, the Sky would be irrelevant. Translation? Chicago wasn't thriving before, and Reese hasn't fixed it. The team didn't need media noise. They needed a real superstar. And right now, it's clear Reese hasn't become that player.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
As the dust settles from one of the most underwhelming free agency periods in recent memory, Angel Reese is facing a career-defining moment. This was supposed to be the year she changed everything, the year she built something historic in Chicago. Instead, her super team fantasy crashed and burned before it even got off the ground. No elite reinforcements. No winning culture. Just a lot of talk, and now, a lot of eyes waiting to see if she can back it up. And here's the deeper truth. Reese's struggle isn't just her own. It's a spotlight on a WNBA reality. Building champions takes more than a big personality. It takes structure, vision, and actual basketball credibility. Right now, Chicago's got none of that. So as this new season tips off, the question is clear: can Angel Reese deliver more than headlines? Or will she fade into the background while the rest of the league leaves her behind? Buckle up, because this ride is about to get bumpy. And if things go south, it might be the last time the hype train stops in Chicago.